Before we begin, close your eyes and visualize. Use your imagination and personal experiences. You don't need monkey brain visuals. You can do better. Now, back to the video. Have you ever noticed how your life force keeps slipping through hair-thin cracks? The way water seeps from a leaky faucet. Little by little, your energy trickles into places where it barely matters, into people who hardly rester it, into duties that never repay you, into expectations you never actually picked for yourself. Let's be honest, we've all done it. You agree to another project even though your workload is already groaning. You answer that after midnight text from someone who ghosts whenever you need them. You stay on call for everyone else's meltdowns, always the listener, always the steady shoulder, until one morning you wake up drained, behind on your own dreams, wondering how your life got so far off track. Carl Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Sit with that for a second. Your greatest privilege is not to spend every waking hour patching the emotions of the people around you. It isn't to be forever reachable, perpetually agreeable, or relentlessly polite. It is to discover yourself, to pull back layer after unnoticed layer of pleasing, performing, pretending. Modern culture, though, programs us for non-stop availability. Stay online, answer fast, prove you're dependable, be the flawless friend, partner, employee. And what's the payoff? Maybe a flash of validation, a temporary sense of worth, followed by exhaustion, emptiness, and a weird distance from your own identity. Yet the moment you begin to say no, the instant you guard your time, your focus, your emotional real estate, something remarkable starts to unfold. You drop back into the present tense of your own life. The sting of letting people down fades, replaced by relief. Guilt melts into clarity. Hesitation hardens into self-respect. Jung believed genuine growth happens not when we're forever open to others, but when we finally become available to ourselves. Growth sprouts in that tiny pause when an inner voice whispers, "I don't have fuel for this," and instead of overriding it, you listen. Here's an awkward truth we rarely state aloud. When you're constantly available, folks don't admire you. They overlook you. The more you give without limit, the less your giving seems to count. Pulling back isn't cold. It simply makes your warmth matter. People learn how to treat you from the boundaries you set. Trade endless sacrifice for mutual respect, and you'll see who truly values you. Imagine your attention as currency, your most precious form of wealth. Where have you been spending it, and what have you received in return? Has it brought peace, joy, or strength, or has every transaction left you a little emptier? Once you stop offering unlimited access, the scenery shifts. Friends plan before they message. Co-workers honor your limits. Family recalibrates expectation. Most crucially, you rediscover shelved passions, half-finished goals, and long-ignored boundaries. Things you abandoned because saying yes felt easier. Let's clear up a misconception. Guarding your energy isn't self-exile, it's deliberate living. Think of the most impactful people you know. They aren't glued to their phones or dashing to every invite. They choose, they filter, they pause. Their presence carries weight precisely because it isn't scattered everywhere. Jung put it plainly, the world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. When you lack boundaries, that's exactly what happens. Your identity gets shaped by incoming requests. You intend to focus on something that matters, but notifications ping, and suddenly hours disappear. You finish the day drained, confused about why your own priorities always sit last. The harsh reality: perpetual availability doesn't read as generosity, it reads as convenience. People accustomed to your automatic yes seldom register your fatigue. Breaking that habit takes courage. It risks a few raised eyebrows and maybe a little disappointment, but consider the emotional cost of endless compliance. Expect pushback at first. You've changed. Or are we still okay? Hold steady. Over time, the dynamic adjusts. People think before they interrupt. They weigh their requests. They start respecting the quiet message you're sending. My energy counts. Inside, another shift blossoms. The reflex to answer instantly loosens its grip. Relief rises in its place. Your thoughts slow. Your emotions level out. And you finally come home to yourself. Some connections will thin. and that's fine. Relationships built solely on your constant availability weren't genuine partnerships. They were conveniences, the bonds that remain deepen, anchored in honesty and respect. Your compassion doesn't shrink. It's sharp. When you give, it's from abundance, not quiet resentment. Remember Jung's warning. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Endless availability used to be unconscious. Now, every mindful no, every deliberate pause, every act of self-respect carves a new path, one that leads straight back to you. Let's turn the spotlight inward for a moment. This habit of endless yes saying didn't sprout from thin air. Underneath it sit quieter forces, old longings for approval, childhood fears of rejection, the anxious whisper that says, if I'm helpful enough, no one will leave. Psychologists call this pattern fawning, a reflex to over-accommodate, so conflict never reaches your doorstep. Picture the countless tiny moments that reinforce it. A coworker cracks a thoughtless joke. You laugh it off though it stung. Your boss piles on extra tasks. You nod, even as your stomach knots. Each silent swallow teaches you the same lesson. Your comfort is negotiable. Other people's ease is not. Carl Jung had a word for the feelings we bury to keep the peace. The shadow, those unspoken parts of us that cringe at displeasing others, dread being left out or worry about standing out. When we're overly available, we're not really being generous, we're quietly trying to keep that shadow from stirring. Yet ignored emotions don't vanish, they tunnel underground, surfacing later as resentment, burnout, or that vague ache of living someone else's life. Let's ground this in a simple story. Meet Sarah. She's the office rock star, the go-to friend, the family lifeline. Need a ride to the airport at 5 a.m? Call Sarah. Deadline moved up suddenly. She'll stay late. A cousin wants to vent for an hour. Sarah keeps the line open. Everyone calls her reliable, generous, indispensable, and she is on the outside. Behind the smile, Sarah's world feels like a hamster wheel. Her own goals: finish the novel, train for a 10K, take a weekend off, remain stuck in Sunday territory. Each new favor chips away another sliver of time, another ounce of enthusiasm. She tells herself it's easier to keep saying yes, easier not to rock any boats. But the price tag shows up nightly when her head hits the pillow. Frustration, fatigue, a faint sense of living life in the wrong script. One evening, Sarah finally pauses. A friend texts, "Can you help me move Saturday?" Her calendar is stuffed, her muscles ache, and the word no pulses at the edge of her tongue. Tentatively, she types, "I'm sorry, I'm booked this weekend. Can we look at another time?" Thumb hovering, heart racing. Send. And nothing catastrophic happens. Her friend replies, "No worries, I'll ask around." Relief floods in. That single, shaky boundary lights a fuse of change. Over the next weeks, Sarah tries more small no's, declining an after-hours work request, letting a call roll to voicemail, carving a free hour on Sunday just for a walk. Each time the sky stays put, colleagues adjust, friends adapt. Far from losing people, she notices new respect in their voices. Even more important, self-respect buds inside her, small but unmistakable. Jung called this slow, unfurling individuation, the journey of becoming whole, real, integrated. Sarah isn't withdrawing love, she's finally loving herself too. Every new boundary is a tiny declaration. I exist, my needs count. Her shadow doesn't run the show in secret anymore. It's invited into daylight, named, accepted. Paradoxically, that honesty makes her kinder, not cold. When she does choose to help, her yes is wholehearted, free of simmering resentment. Bring the lens back to you. What hidden worry has been steering your availability? Fear of being disliked, unease with conflict, the belief that worth equals usefulness. Name it. Recognition loosens its grip. Your value is not a punch card stamped, did favors. It's innate, unchangeable, even on days you help no one but yourself. Healthy generosity feels light, not leaden. Picture how your days might look when you stop managing everyone's reactions and start tending your own soil. Messages wait an hour before you answer. You try, "Let me think about it," Instead of reflex yes, you decline a plan that drains you. And that simple act pumps oxygen back into your week. Each of these inch steps builds emotional muscle. Bit by bit, anxiety ebbs, clarity sharpens, joy returns. Some ties will loosen. Let them. They were anchored in your overgiving, not in real mutuality. The relationships that remain will breathe easier, fed by honesty instead of obligation. Boundaries don't slam doors, they straighten hallways. They show others where you stand so they can meet you there, not trample past. And they invite the people who truly cherish you to do the same, to guard their own energy, to bring their whole selves forward. Your quiet example becomes an unspoken permission slip. It's okay to live authentically. So what tiny boundary could you set today? Answer texts after your morning coffee instead of before. Say I wish I could help, but I'm at capacity. Give yourself 20 tech-free minutes. None of these moves are grand gestures, yet together they tilt your life on its axis, away from automatic giving toward intentional presence. Once you taste the calm that follows, you'll wonder how you ever survived on constant availability. And if this resonates, drop one word, unavailable, in the comments. No need to explain, I'll know exactly what you mean. Before we close, let's walk through what actually happens when you draw the line and people push back. You'll hear it. You've changed. You never answer anymore. Are we still okay? The first time a friend says that, a quiver of guilt may shoot through you. But remember, their discomfort doesn't mean your boundary is wrong. It simply means they got used to the old pattern where you were always on call. Carl Jung framed it neatly. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. If a boundary feels right on your foot, let it pinch somewhere else. It's still the right size for you. Yes, some connections will loosen. You might even lose a friendship or two. That can sting. Yet ask yourself, if a relationship survives only when you ignore your own needs, is it a friendship or just a convenient arrangement? Genuine bonds thrive on clarity, not convenience. Think of your life as a garden. If you never prune weeds and dead branches choke the bloom, snip away what drains light and nutrients, and the roses come alive. Boundaries are those pruning shears. They don't destroy the garden, they let it breathe. Let's ground this in another everyday story. Picture two co-workers turned friends, Alex and Jamie. Alex answers every group chat within seconds, shows up for every outing, covers every shift when someone's sick, and never voices a preference about where to eat. Jamie is warm and reliable too, but different. Jamie sometimes responds an hour later, occasionally declines an invitation, and openly schedules me time on the calendar. Fast forward 6 months. Colleagues describe Alex as sweet, but honestly I didn't realize how tired they were until they snapped last week. They describe Jamie as steady and thoughtful. When Jamie says yes, you know it matters. Jamie's occasional absence hasn't made people drift away. It's made every appearance feel more intentional. Scarcity raises value in the healthiest, most natural way. Notice this pattern among the happiest, most centered people you admire. They aren't tugged in 100 directions or glued to their phones 24/7. They answer when they're ready, show up when it aligns, and bring focused presence instead of scattered crumbs of attention. That's the shift you're aiming for, from reactive availability to purposeful presence. As you practice, something almost magical happens. Your example gives silent permission for others to do the same. Friends begin saying, "Actually, I need a quiet night too." Coworkers start blocking focus hours on their calendars. Your respect for your own bandwidth plants a seed of self-respect in everyone who sees it. None of this is selfish. Healthy boundaries expand compassion because they remove the poisons of resentment and fatigue. When you finally say yes, it's a bright, wholehearted yes, not a sigh beneath your breath. Your kindness turns genuine, potent, clear. So test it this week. Wait 30 minutes before replying to non-urgent messages. The next time a plan drains you, say thanks for thinking of me, but I'm going to rest tonight. If someone presses, repeat calmly, that won't work for me. No long defense needed. Each tiny act is another snip of that pruning shoot. Soon the vibrant parts of your life, creativity, rest, deep conversation, have room to flourish. Anxiety eases, clarity strengthens, joy returns. And should anyone question the new rhythm you're carving, remember Jung's other gentle reminder: the world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you. With every boundary you set, you're the one answering that question, clearly, kindly, and on your own terms.